Welcome back, happy crafters. We are playing with the Glowforge Aura this week, and we are going to make a perfect sellable project. This is something that doesn't require a lot of cost to make, doesn't require a ton of time, and it would be a great product for you to sell on Etsy and make a little income from your Glowforge Aura. If you aren't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and make sure you follow for updates so you can see all the videos I'm going to be posting over the next few weeks, because we are going to continue talking about how we can make money with our Glowforge Aura, how we can maximize it, and really just have a lot of fun with this new machine from Glowforge that is meant for crafters. Things I'm loving about the Glowforge so far are the tabletop space it takes up. I like that it's not massive. I also like that it has an attached air filter so that I don't have to vent to the outside. I'm loving having that convenient little air filter attached to it so it fits in my craft space and I don't have to like cut a hole in my wall or vent out the window. I love that it only has one button, so it's simple. And I love that it has an interior camera so that it can see the material I'm cutting with at any given time and be super, super accurate in that way. And I can see it on my computer in real time so I know nothing is going wrong inside the machine. I'm also loving the pass-through slot. I haven't had a ton of time to play with it yet, but we definitely will in coming videos. The Aura does have a pass-through slot, just like traditional Glowforge models, where you can open up the sides and cut extended material lengths as they pass through the machine. So we'll definitely play with that in future videos, but today we are keeping it very simple with a beginner project, again, that would be perfect for you to sell online and make some income from your Aura. So we're gonna be using some plywood today, and we are going to make an alphabet puzzle for kids. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna love it. We will get right into it, but first let's talk about what materials you're gonna need for this project. For this project, you're gonna need 2 pieces of walnut plywood. I'm using the light walnut plywood that is new for the Glowforge Aura, but if you're using traditional proof grade materials, you could also use medium walnut plywood or light walnut plywood. It just really depends on how thick you want your puzzle to be. But for me, I'm gonna be using this new light walnut plywood that is compatible with the Glowforge Aura. And I'm gonna be using 2 12 by 12 sheets of that plywood today. A quick note about proof grade materials. So proof grade materials are made by Glowforge so that they are safe and compatible with your Glowforge Aura. You can use any sort of proof grade materials when you're cutting with your Aura, but the added benefit of using the ones from Glowforge, especially as a beginner, is they have this little QR code right here on the bottom that the internal camera will read when you place it inside your Glowforge, and it will automatically adapt the cut settings and speed to be perfect for that material. So if you're a beginner like me, I highly recommend going with the Glowforge brand proof grade materials, just for that added benefit of not having to mess with the settings of your Glowforge cut speed and pressure, and it'll just do all that for you. So other materials you're gonna need today are paint. You can use any kind of acrylic paint. I'm not entirely sure what colors I'm going to use yet, but this will be to paint the actual alphabet letters of the puzzle. So just pick a color scheme, maybe 3, 4, or 5 colors that you feel like will look good together and that would go with the kind of puzzle you're looking to create. Along that same line, you are going to need some paint brushes for that paint. And then you are also going to need some wood glue to hold these 2 pieces of wood together. I'm using Gorilla Wood Glue Ultimate. I'm not sure what makes it so ultimate, but it is just Gorilla Wood Glue. So definitely have some of that on hand so that you can put the 2 pieces of wood that we're gonna cut together today. With all that being said, that's pretty much all you need. If you want a clamp to hold your 2 pieces of wood together while the glue bonds, you can do that, but that's totally optional. And for the ultimate, it really works very quickly, so that's not totally necessary. But if you're using a slower bonding wood glue, maybe consider a clamp to kind of hold these tightly together while that wood bond dries. With that being said, that is all your materials for today's project. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the design we're using today is actually directly from the Glowforge catalog. It's this medium plywood ABC puzzle. So if you're wanting to do this along with me today, you can actually grab this file directly from the Glowforge catalog by just going to app.glowforge.com and then clicking on catalog here at the top. and then you can search directly for this design by its name. So again, this is a great design that you could sell online. These are really, really popular on Etsy right now. And as you're about to see, it does not take a ton of effort with our Glowforge Aura. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on that design and bring it into my workspace here. Now I'm gonna make a couple of quick changes because I don't want to use the pass-through slot today. If you've made changes to your design, by the way, just a quick note, you can click Reset Design, and the Glowforge app will go ahead and reset it to the original instructions of that catalog design. So that way you never lose anything if you make changes like we are about to. So as you can see, we've got this kind of square area here that's gonna cut out our letters. And then we have a second square that's gonna serve as the backing for our puzzle. And I'm just gonna separate these into two separate layers so that we can work a little easier today and not use that pass-through slot. So I'm gonna right click this one and hit cut. And then I'm going to just right click anywhere in my workspace and hit to paste as a new step. So this is gonna allow those to be two separate steps in our workspace, and that way I can go ahead and just click on this second one and click to ignore it for now, because I wanna cut this all at once, and then I'm gonna go back and ignore this first step and cut the second step separately. So that way I'm not having to focus on two things at once. I just wanna worry about the front right now, and then we'll go back and worry about this piece second. So we've got our first layer here, and it's got our alphabet letter cutouts, and it also has kind of a cutout for that piece. We're gonna cut that first on our plywood, and then we're gonna come back and cut our backing piece separately, which is why I chose to click ignore on that piece for now. Okay. If that was complicated, it's all gonna make sense here in just a second when we start cutting, which we are about to do because we are totally ready. So this is ready to be cut. Let's go ahead and put our material into our Glowforge and get started. Okay, so because we're ready to put our material in our Glowforge, we are going to do QR side up so the Glowforge can read it. And we're just gonna place it right there in the center. You do not need to take off that protective film. The Glowforge is actually gonna cut right through it. So we're just gonna let it get warmed up here, and in a second, it will render on our computer screen that it sees the material inside, and it will adjust for those cut settings. Again, all pieces of proof grade material have like a layer on top and a layer on the back that are just these protective layers, and you do not take those off before cutting. So as you can see, my app here has updated and it's telling me it's ready to print. I can even click in this top right corner and see that my Aura and my air filter are both ready to go and attached correctly, which is always good. You never want to cut without your air filter being properly functioning. And I can also see that my design is really well centered on my material, so we shouldn't have any problems there. So I'm gonna go ahead and click print, and it's gonna start preparing my design. It's gonna come to life. The laser is gonna get into position here. It's gonna make sure it's all calibrated. That's gonna take a couple seconds. And then once the button right here starts glowing, we will be ready to start printing. So we're gonna let it warm up for a second, and then it's time for the magic to happen. Okay, our go button is now glowing, so we're gonna go ahead and press it, and we are off to the races on this print. Our Aura is telling us it's gonna take about 36 minutes to print this top layer, and the second layer should be much quicker. So I'll show you a little bit of the action while it's printing, but then ultimately we'll take a little break and we'll come back when we're ready to cut the second layer. Okay, our first cut is officially done, so we're just gonna open up the lid now that the Glowforge is telling us it is complete. We can go ahead and pull it out and place our second piece of wood right in the tray where we had the first one. And then we're gonna go ahead and go onto our screen here, and we're going to set the second part to cut and ignore the first part. So let's go through that process on the computer, and then we are ready to cut again. Okay, so now that our first print is done, we can dismiss our notification. And then we're actually gonna go to these two and select to ignore them. And to cut this one. And we're just gonna move it onto our, actually, you know what we're gonna do? Since these are exactly the same as each other, I'm just gonna delete this one. And I'm gonna set to cut just this outline that we already cut, just to double make sure that it matches. And then we're gonna make sure that we're ignoring those letters, and then we are ready to press print. So once again, our Glowforge is gonna hum to life over here. It's gonna calibrate and adjust its settings to make sure it is perfectly ready to print. And then once our button starts glowing here, we will be ready to cut our second layer. So I'm gonna set my computer aside. So while that's calibrating, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this first layer that cut and go ahead and pop out our letters and pop out our outline just to make sure everything cut perfectly. It looks really nice so far. So far, so good. Just kind of peeling it away from this backing layer here. Oh, our button is glowing. Let's go ahead and get that second one cut in. Okay, our second cut is complete. So we're gonna go ahead and open the lid, pull out that cut, and I'm just gonna set it aside for now. We're gonna focus on getting our letters and our top layer all popped out, and then we will worry about painting them. I've already flipped this over to the back here, and I'm just going to peel off this little protective layer. This is also where, like, if you have a weeding hook from working with like a Cricut, sometimes it's easy to like use that weeding hook to help you lift the corner of your protective layer, but most of the time you can just get it with your hands. Depending on how the cut turned out, you may have like some lingering pieces that you have to kind of work at getting off. We're gonna try to avoid that, but you never know how it's all gonna turn out. So we'll use our weeding hook to get those after the fact. Looks like it's peeling pretty well. Some pieces are wanting to come off here with the backing layer, so I'm just being mindful to set those off to the side. Woo-woo! Got done. Now we're going to work on popping our letters out. And as we do that, we're going to peel the front layer off. I'm gonna grab my weeding hook for this. I think it's gonna make it go a little quicker. If you do use your weeding hook for this, be very careful because it is a softer wood and you don't wanna cause any unnecessary indentions as you get that hook in there. The only thing we haven't popped out yet is the little A. It's for some reason, oh, we forgot tab. So I'm just gonna slowly tip it up since this is the back of our puzzle. It's just a little stuck right there. There we go, got it. And our B is the only other thing that caused us problems right here. So I'm gonna look at that when we get to the painting stage to kind of clean up this line right here and see what went wrong. Other than that, it looks like everything cut pretty perfectly. So let's just peel our letters and then kind of do some looking at what we've got to work with. As I finish with my letters, I'm just gonna make sure I set the tab pieces off to the side just in case I need them. I don't think I need them, I think they're just trash, but I just wanna keep them together as I assemble my puzzle just in case I'm missing something. And then the little interior parts of the letters, I'm just setting off to the side in a separate location in case I want to use them in the puzzle. Honestly, I love the process of peeling the backing layer away. It's kind of the same satisfaction as traditional weeding, but better somehow. It's like peeling a sunburn. That's what it's like. Also, we are about to get to the painting part of this project. And just a reminder that the painting on this project is totally optional. The natural wood veneer is really pretty. I'm just using the paint to give this project a little more contrast and a little more like kid-friendly feel, I guess. But you definitely can leave this unfinished or even sell it that way. That's totally an option. The next step is optional. Just want to make sure that is known. Keep in mind that this design did come straight from the Glowforge catalog, and you can buy this design for just $3.99 for unlimited prints. So you could definitely pay for this design and just do it as much as you wanted to. The little QR code on our Z is not wanting to come off. I'm gonna play with it again when we get to the painting step, but also I'm about to paint over it, so it doesn't really matter. All right, all of our letters are done. We do need to peel the backing layer off of this guy. Woo, that is satisfying. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get this picked up so I can hopefully get this all in one piece. That would be oh so nice, but also probably a little unrealistic. It's really just about working your angles, you know? It's about tearing in the right direction so that it will work well every time. So close, nearing the finish line. That means I gotta decide what colors I wanna paint these letters. We're gonna set this piece off to the side. We're gonna move all our debris out of the way here. We will clean that up before we start painting. We're gonna go ahead and pop out our next layer. I'm really scared I'm gonna rip it or it's gonna break. Because that back section does like to hang on tight. Remember that time I told you it would all come off in one piece? Did I stutter? That was satisfying. Okay, let's peel off the other side. Oh no, is this side not gonna come off on one piece? That would be so tragic. No, it is not. Tragic! Ooh. I think in my effort to peel this away, I created a little rip. That's fine, we're about to glue them together and you'll never know. Once again, we have a little bit of issue here. Woo! Got it. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little piece of like sanding paper. Actually, I might be able to do it with my weeding hook. I just have a little bit of inconsistency there. I could also probably take some scissors and fix that. That's from where I accidentally ripped it. We are learning as we go. And also remember that the Glowforge Aura is still very new. At the time of me making this video, it doesn't even exist yet. So just keep that in mind that these cut settings are still being perfected and they get better every day. I've actually already noticed some cut settings getting changed in the Glowforge Aura system, and they really do get better and better all the time. That's one thing I love about Glowforge is their team is constantly improving and constantly making things better. So I think that when I do that cut setting next time, I might make it just a little bit stronger and then save it as a custom setting, and it would probably help avoid some of that tearing that we saw happen. But again, that setting might literally be changed by the time you even use this material. Okay, we have both of our pieces. So now it's time to wood glue our puzzle together just like this. The letters piece will wood glue right on top of our backing layer. And I'm gonna go ahead and start that process, and then while our wood is bonding and drying, I will start painting my letters. So again, I'm using Gorilla Glue today. I've never used this glue before, so we're gonna see how she does. I have a feeling if it's anything like most Gorilla Glue. Oh no, that was a lot. It's okay, it's okay. It's okay, we're just gonna use a little less down here. We'll just clean up any mess that we make. You are a pro at working with wood glue. You're probably judging me right now. That's okay, I deserve it. I feel like that's probably good. Right there, right? Okay. I'm so scared. Okay. Going to lay it down. Wow, that was, okay. All right, we're gonna lay it down on top. We're gonna press it down. Make sure we're all lined up. Oh, look at it. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna push down here to make sure we're getting a good bond. And then I'm gonna take a Q-tip and I'm gonna get all that excess glue out. Okay, let me go get a Q-tip. Be right back. We definitely do not want it to dry like that. So again, just pressing down in all the areas here. And then I'm just gonna take my little Q-tip. That is a lot of glue. We're just gonna just pretend like that didn't happen. Again, I am very new to the working with wood process here, so we're learning as we go. We're learning as we go. That's why I got a lot of Q-tips. Just wanna make it as clean as possible here. So that's why I'm using the Q-tip, because it's really precise and it's allowing me to really like get in the corners there, knowing that it's maybe gonna take a few Q-tips, but that's okay. So we're just going one letter at a time, running along the edges, making sure we've got really clean lines here. We don't have a ton of glue seeping out. Obviously, some areas are a little more extra than others. If you're like me and this is your first time making this project, which it probably is if you're watching this video, be patient with yourself. Okay, this is pretty good. This is looking good. We have a random glue spot on the back. Don't ask me how that got there. I don't know. But we're gonna clean it up real fast. so we don't glue our puzzle to our table. And then we're gonna set this aside so it can cure a little bit while we work on painting our letters. So I'm gonna, again, set all this stuff off to the side. I'm gonna get a little wet paper towel really fast to wipe that up, and then we are ready to paint. I'm actually just gonna get a new paper towel entirely because this has some glue on it. Okay, as we switch from glue to paint, we're just cleaning up our workspace here, making sure that we have a good clean surface, and let's lay out our letters and our paint. Here comes the fun. We only really need to paint one side, although that's entirely up to you if you want to paint both. I'm just kind of eyeballing where these are all gonna go. All of a sudden I've forgotten my alphabet. A, B, C. Okay, that's fine. Let's get our colors. So here's all the colors that I am interested in. I'm not sure what I'm going to actually use. We're gonna figure that out right now. I know I want to use this cute little light blue. I love that. I think it's adorable. And I really enjoy this purple, pink. Always have to do a pink. Ooh, but maybe like a pale pink instead. Maybe we'll go kind of pastels. So maybe some white, yellow. Then we have to have a green. We already have a purple, so we can get rid of that. We already have a blue. We don't need these two blues. Maybe orange and no white. Maybe no green. I think I like that. I'm gonna get a little plate to put my paint on. I'll be right back. Okay, found a little paint palette. So we're gonna use that. And we're just going to make sure we have a little of each color. Ooh, I kind of like it without the white too. Maybe we'll set our white off to the side. We might not use it. We'll see how it goes. It's been a bit since I've used some of these paints, so I'm anticipating some separation. Look at these happy, happy colors. Oh, I've already gotten paint on myself. We're like just a minute in. Let's just go in order, and we'll just kind of use our smaller paintbrush here and just start painting our letters. Oh wow, the paint really goes on really nicely. I was thinking we might need a second coat, but we actually might not. The hardest challenge is gonna be making sure my strokes look even. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. So it'll be pink, yellow, orange, purple, blue, pink. And then we'll just have to wash our brush in between each one. The only thing that will be if the sides look really messy because of how like kind of crazy I'm being painting the tops, we may have to paint them. Yellow, orange, purple, blue, pink. Yellow, orange, purple, blue, pink. Yellow, orange, purple, blue, pink. Yes, okay, that's right. I got way too much paint in these little wells. That's all right. We're gonna be a little wasteful on paint. I'm so sorry. Decided there's really not a good way to do this without kind of painting your finger a little bit. That's okay. These will definitely need a second coat. Next will be yellow. You could also spray paint these if you had little color spray paints on hand. I feel like that would probably be a little easier, dry a little quicker than what I'm doing. But you know what? There's really no lot wrong when you're just learning and playing. I'm not loving this yellow right now, so I'm hoping I will start loving it more in a minute. Time for orange. And then I will spare you all. We'll take a little break and come back after I do our second coat, because they are definitely going to need it. I almost accidentally dipped my paintbrush in the yellow, which would have been not good. At this point, if you are doing this project, I would recommend, unless you just love painting, which I actually do happen to love, spray paint is the way to go with these puppies. It's gonna be easier for sure. Okay, first coat is done, just like that. Let's take a little break. I'm gonna do my second coat and then we will put our puzzle together. Okay, I have officially done the second coat of paint and the third coat on some of these letters. And I feel like it turned out so cute. Such a cute little beginner project with the Glowforge Aura, and definitely something you could sell online. I feel like it was really easy to cut. I will say that if you do this project, I would recommend spray paint. I would also recommend making sure you're painting the correct side of the letters, because even the ones that look symmetrical are not. And also just a gentle reminder that this backing looks like a square. It is not a square, so make sure you line it up in the correct orientation between the two boards, because that can be a little finicky as well. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this project. I think it would sell really well on Etsy. It was beginner friendly, it was easy to make. I love the end result. I love the little painted letters. I may make my own template for this just to make it a little bit easier and a little more symmetrical with some of like the letters in the backing. But for something that you get directly out of the Glowforge catalog, I think it's a 10 out of 10 and it was really a fun one. So don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We'll be doing tons more Glowforge Aura projects as we move forward, and I will see you back here next week.